Hello my loves, I'm Jessie Moon6, your sister in the craft, and this is the melting pot. Today I am going to be filming two videos actually. I'm going to film this one and then I'm going to be filming my long overdue hex video. So the idea behind today's video is so that I can get this out to you quickly while I'm working on that one. But I wanted to get this video up to you. It has been a while since I've shared one. As some of you know, I am chronically ill as I struggle with Crohn's disease. So my health is up and down a lot, and so is my energy level, and sometimes I just don't have it in me. You know, you can't pour from an empty cup. And other times I still struggle, you know, with my ego a lot. When I'm feeling sick, I have a lot of body image issues, and I have to remind myself, like, I'm here to share my knowledge, not my image, but my knowledge. So I have to, you know, sometimes I have to take a step back and try to ground myself before I can move forward, because I want to make sure I'm giving you this information from a clear and pure headspace. So all that being said, today's video that I'm going to be sharing right now, I'm going to try and get through it without edits. So this one is probably going to be a little rougher around the edges. Bear with me on the ums and uhs and the awkward pauses, because I want to try and, like I said, just get through this one the best that I can so I can get it up to you today, since it has been a little while since I've shared a video with you, and so that in the meantime, while I am working on the hex video, there will be something else for you to get started on and to learn about, or to even put into practice. So all that being said, today, you might see some things out in front of me. Today I'm going to be sharing with you one of my personal methods. Again, as most things on this channel are, I'm going to be sharing with you a way to incorporate sigils in a different way into your practice. And we're going to be using candles to do this. I made some of these for my wedding. They were so beautiful. Just looking at them, you could feel the energy. They're very powerful. The sigils just bring a whole other element, and you're incorporating herbs and oils, and it's just a really beautiful way to continually charge a sigil. This method is particularly great for long-term, like long working goals. So things that you want to be like a reoccurring basis, something that you want to continue to attract again and again. Things like health, good health, luck, love, your marriage, or whatever. Things that you want to be a reoccurring thing that you want to keep attracting. Because if you use a pillar candle, you can keep them for a while and light them while you are trying to do work for that specific thing. So I would suggest, if you're going to be using a pillar candle like this, try to stick to topics that are more long-term, because these burn a long time, and you're not going to want to pick a topic you want instant results on, or you're gonna be waiting a while. This, unless of course you were able to do this on a thinner candle, on one of the little thinner taper candles or spell candles, but since we're carving, it might be a little trickier. It's not impossible, it just may be a little trickier. So I like to mostly save this for more long-term things, or more reoccurring themes in my life, things that I want to continue to come back to me. So that being said, what we're gonna need for this is some anointing oil. And if you don't have anointing oil, or you don't know how to make it, I will link below the video that I just made on how to make protection oil, and it's very much the same method. You will want to maybe think of what kind of herbs you would want to incorporate to encompass this anointing oil. This, you can choose one that's more for like an overall, you know, I have a an anointing oil that I use in my rituals. Each time I do a ritual, I use a specific oil. And that's the oil that I am choosing to incorporate here today. I'm using rosemary for intuition, and olive oil is my base. And I also added some essential oils as well. So you just kind of have to tweak it to whatever you're trying to draw in. The reason I chose those specific things for mine is because when I'm doing ritual work, I want to be in tune with my intuition. I want to be in tune with my guides, my spirits, all those things. And the goal that I'm choosing for this candle, I made a sigil that states, I attract, sorry, I had to think about it. I attract divine guidance. I attract divine guidance. So I wanted to kind of incorporate herbs that go along with that divine guidance, intuition, or my guides, or what have you. You can find ties to herbs online, or you can use the more chaos magician approach, as I have mentioned in a few of my videos, where you are just assigning your intent. Intent is very, very important in all of our spell work, or what's the point? If we didn't have intentions behind them, we wouldn't be doing it, right? So for mine, I already went ahead and designed my sigil before we got started. I activated my sigil by fire. There are many different ways of activation. You can use creative energy, you can use sexual energy, you can use fire. Like I said, there's tons of ways. Fire is just my go-to because I think it is a really powerful way of charging by incorporating that fire element, which is that masculine, strong energy, which is what I am trying to, I want strong spell work to be done here. So I'm trying to use that as the point of activation for my sigil. Has been more successful for me, I have found. And it's also an easy, convenient way of doing it as well. But whatever jives with you, to each their own. So my sigil looks something like this. As I said, I attract divine guidance. You will need, like I said, ground cinnamon. I don't know if I mentioned that. Ground cinnamon, oil, your anointing oil, and a knife. If you do not have a ritual knife, you can just use a pocket knife or a kitchen knife even. Just make sure you bless it. So now we're gonna get started, and I'm gonna put my glasses on for this because I don't want to cut myself, and I want this to look somewhat the same as I intended it to. All right. So I'm going to now carve my sigil. And while you're doing this, keep your intent in the forefront of your mind. Don't be thinking of anything else. Okay, that one looks a little better. A lot of my wax fell out in my last one. So you're going to want to try and get as much of the dust off the front of it as you can. And next thing that we're going to do, so we're going to dress the sigil with our anointing oil and try and get it deep in the grooves of this. Because this is going to kind of act as your glue for your cinnamon. And when you're going in circles, when you're trying to draw something in, you want to go clockwise. Counterclockwise to banish, clockwise to draw in. Now, finally, we are going to add our cinnamon. Cinnamon is a great way to charge spells. It is also a fire element. It's also masculine. It is a great way to charge and bring strength, and it also kind of speeds things up in a sense with spell work. So it's a great way to speed up a spell, and it's a great way to strengthen a spell. So I'm just gonna add just a little more, make sure the anointing, and if you have powder, wax powder in there, try to clear it out before you add the cinnamon, just so the pigment will be more even. If you have a toothpick, that would probably work easier than trying to use your fingernail like I am. But hey, practical witchcraft at its best. Alright, so now that I did that, I'm going to add just a little more oil just to be safe. So I knocked a lot of it out. Now we're going to add the cinnamon for strength and for quickness, to make things come in a little quicker. And remember, when you're working a spell, it is always incredibly important to tell the herb what its job is: to strengthen, to quicken. I'm going to sprinkle this now, just kind of over the design. It doesn't have to be right in the holes. And again, we're just going to do circles. And you'll start to see your sigil appear. The more simple your shapes are, the better for something like this, because you will lose some of the detail, as you can see, but your sigil is there. Now it is charged with your anointing oil and with the herbs. Sorry, I don't know, that might have been out of frame. So it is charged with the oils, with herbs, and now each time that you want to draw in or attract this thing, all you have to do now is light your candle. Each time it will simply charge your sigil, charge that intention, and help bring in the thing that you're trying to attract. I hope that you find this useful. I hope that you're able to put it to good use. If your first one is a bomb, don't worry about it. It's okay. It doesn't have to be the most beautiful. And if you have a toothpick and the candle wax allows it, that might even be a little easier for precision. So you just play around with it, find out what works. If you have any tips that you found helpful while doing this, feel free to drop them below. I would love to hear them. And as I said, just stay tuned for that video I will be sharing this week. My next video in my Hex series, this one's going to be on psychic protection. I'm going to go over some warding, some banishing methods. I'm going to share a beginner-friendly psychic protection technique, and then I'm going to share a more advanced, to intermediate to advanced techniques for psychic protection. So I'm really excited to talk about all of that with you. Some of these things are really huge within my own practice, and I'm really excited to share them with you. And yeah, I don't know. For sake of not having too many more edits, I'm going to shut up now. And until next time, my friends, bless.